Hello everyone, thank you for tuning in again. I am Kaylee Batesman, the content director at SheCanCode, and today we are discussing unlocking opportunities, events, networking and progressing your career. In this episode, we delve into the world of career progression, networking and seizing opportunities. And I've got the amazing Christie Day, portfolio director at Hub Exhibitions, the company behind Karren Brady's Women in Business and Tech Expo with me today. And she's here to share her insights on the crucial aspects of professional growth. Welcome, Christie. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to have a chat today.
Hi, Kaylee. Thank you so much for having me. It's an absolute pleasure to be on your podcast.
Good, thank you. Well, we've got a lot to talk about because there's a brilliant show coming up that you're organising that we'd love to know all about. But can we kick off with a little bit of background about yourself, please, and your career?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've basically been in exhibitions since I left university. I've not worked in any other sector, so luckily it was an industry that I loved from the beginning. I worked on events such as the BBC Good Food Show. I also worked on an event called Beyond Boundaries, which was an empowerment event for the disability market. And then I've really been in the tech event space for the last 10 years. So I spearheaded Digital Transformation Expo for 10 years, which is the largest tech event in the UK. It takes place in London and Manchester. And then working in that tech event space, I really noticed what a male-dominated sector it was. And my first boss outside of university, Rob Sherwood, you always remember your best and your worst bosses, don't you? He called me and said, look, I want to launch a boutique events company that focuses on ethical and topical events. And the first title and event that I want to launch is Women in Business and Tech Expo. So for me, it was a no-brainer to work for someone I respected, for a subject I was truly passionate about. It was great. So that's what I did after 12 years in the corporate event space. And I've been at Hub Exhibitions since 2018. And I think what Rob and Hub we do, we just try to create a really inclusive culture, and obviously working with someone who believes in you, there's no glass ceiling. So it was probably the biggest risk, but the best reward that's paid off in my career to date. And you spend more
Definitely.
time at work than with your family, don't you? So you have to love what you
Yes.
do.
Yes. Oh, couldn't agree more. Yes. You have to be happy. And something we love on this podcast is to hear all of the different routes into the tech industry, and all of the different types of jobs that you can do to work in tech. And you're a perfect example of that because you work on technology expos, and you work in the tech sector, but everybody thinks you have to be technical to work in the tech sector, which is something that a myth that we try to bust on this podcast. And you're a perfect example of another role that you can do in technology, where you don't have to come in through a computer science degree, and be technical. So we're going to love to hear all about your role and what you do and the events that you're organising today, because I'm sure a lot of listeners would be very interested in moving in that area. So what we're going to talk about is you're currently organising Karren Brady's Women in Business and Tech Expo. Can you tell us a little bit more about that and why this came about?
Sure. So after working in the tech event space and noticing how, what a male dominated sector it was, we knew there was a real gap in the market for employers to diversify their workforces. So we thought, let's launch this expo, because to change these issues of gender inequalities, it needs to be done en masse. So we launched the event when the Me Too movement came about and businesses had to declare their gender pay gap. So it was really topical at that time. And we looked around the event landscapes, and there was lots of awards and conferences that you had to pay to attend. And we thought, we don't believe that women need to invest to progress their career. And there's not a large scale expo in the UK. So that's the kind of main reason that we launched the event.
Amazing. And so I attended quite a few events last week, and I must say that a lot of people that were approaching our stand were all saying, are you going to Women in Business and Tech Expo in October? And lots of people were asking us. We say, yes, actually, SheCanCode will be there.
Great.
But it's on everybody's lips at the moment. Everybody was asking, because it's got a really good reputation. What are the aims of the expo, and what can attendees get out of it?
Well, the real aims of the event are really about inspiration, guidance, recruitment, and also business services. We want women to be able to progress their career or business journey. And it's a really great opportunity for women to find their next employer who they can work in a company or an environment that they can thrive in, progress, and work for someone with shared values. And I think for the business owners, it's a great opportunity to see the latest technologies and services to help streamline their businesses. We basically want visitors to walk away from the event feeling inspired to be their best professional and personal you.
Amazing. Yeah, I completely agree. Um, and the Women in Business Expo is free. You mentioned that it's free to attend. Is this to encourage women from all walks of life to attend? I mean, you mentioned that a little, you touched upon it a little before, that there aren't many expos that are free to attend, and that does kind of cancel out a lot of people, doesn't it?
hmm Yeah, absolutely. We, like I said, we don't believe that women need to invest to progress. So we offer a lot of free on-site features. So we've got a business speed networking feature. We've got an area where you can take professional headshots. We've got a CV interview and a LinkedIn writing clinic. You get access to all the world-class speakers such as Karren Brady and Stephen Bartlett, and an opportunity to meet with employers who are looking to recruit top talent. Um, and there's also, you mentioned earlier about women who want to maybe enter the tech field who aren't coders or have a computer science degree. There's exhibitors there who are actually looking at supporting women to upskill so that they can get some extra knowledge and experience to enter the tech field as well. But the event is open to all women at any stage of their career, but the sweet spot really is that kind of mid to senior level woman looking to progress their career to work for a company where there's no glass ceiling, and if they wanted to, there'd be a seat at the table for them. We also have business owners and business starters who are looking for technologies, services, and inspiration to grow their businesses. So we don't want to alienate anyone, so it is open to all.
And so you mentioned there you get free headshots, CV writing clinic, and obviously there's some amazing speakers in there. That's really good value, though, isn't it? I mean, imagine just going to pay for a headshot and going to a CV clinic. I mean, they're going to cost you so much money to try and progress in your career,
Mhm.
but you're offering all of that free to
Yeah.
attend. I mean, that's incredible value. That's, why wouldn't, that's a no-brainer, really, isn't it, to attend?
Hmm. No, absolutely. I think it's more of an investment of time in yourself, and I
Yeah,
think that's the message that we're trying to spread.
definitely. I think that investment of time is so important. We've had a few conversations on this podcast about you get very lost in your day to day at work, and I think people they forget a little bit, don't they, sometimes along the way. You do your day to day and then the weekend comes around and perhaps you haven't invested in yourself and where you want to go next, and that and how you want to grow professionally, whereas going to a day like this and just kind of said that investment in your own time, and just taking a little time to work on what you want to do next, is would be really good for lots and lots of ladies. Um, why are events like this so important for people? I mean, we touched upon it a little bit there, taking some time out to progress in your career and some personal time. Why are they so important for people, especially women in tech?
I think it's a time-saving exercise. I mean, at our event, you can pretty much get so much research and inspiration and education in 2 days under one roof. I mean, we did
Mhm.
some visitor surveys of what did you think about this brand before you attended the event and what do you think of them now? And it was phenomenal seeing the feedback just to be able to have that face-to-face experience and really speak to employers to understand, how women have progressed at that company, what the culture's like, what the incentives are, what the opportunities are. And they didn't even consider working for a company like that prior to the event. So I think it's that time saving of research and the education piece.
Yes, definitely. Because when you're at those types of events, I mean, the ones that we were at this week, it's all under one roof, and you do get to just talk to lots of different companies, all in one day or 2 days, depending on the event. And it can be very tiring, but as you said, it's just that, you don't have to do all that research. You can talk to people that work there. You can get a good feel for what that company is like. And also meeting people face to face sometimes is so much easier than trying to research a company online. You're not going to get I mean, it's a company can create their brand online and what they might come across as, but speaking to people that actually work there, you're really going to get a much truer picture of whether or not they appear happy and whether or not they seem happy as an employee working at that company. So definitely meeting people face to face within those 2 days is certainly really, really good reason to go. And obviously you also have fantastic speakers as well. And just hearing from all of those great speakers, and that can go either way sometimes with speakers, though, can't it? Sometimes I sit in inspirational speeches and I think I've completely wasted my life up until this point because that person is so amazing. Sometimes it can go the other way and it can inspire you and think, I need to, do something else. Yeah, you do have some incredible speakers at the expo. Obviously, it's 2 days. There's so much there and there's so much to do. Do you have any tips and advice for how to get the most out of events like this?
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about planning your day. So I would download the event app. I would look at what seminars I'd like to attend, what exhibition stands of the companies I want to meet, what features I want to take advantage of. And also the networking piece is really key, just to kind of network with like-minded individuals, I think, is really key. So I would kind of plan your day out from start to finish. The ticket does give you access to the full 2 days of the event. So yes, it's that planning piece is key. And also, I think it's also about attending the event with someone that you enjoy spending time with. So inviting a colleague or a friend, because it is all about that journey of self-development. So I think it's about going with someone that inspires you as well, or who wants to be inspired.
Yeah, that's great advice. Picking to spend the day with somebody that you get on with, and somebody that also shares your vision as well. What you would like to do next. And definitely great advice. Plan your day. As we said, it's 2 days, and there is so much happening that you could miss so many things, or go in and find yourself sitting and having a coffee and missing out on lots of things and talking to lots of people, and before you know it, those 2 days could fly by and you think, oh, I missed this or I missed that, and I didn't realize you could go and get your headshot done, or I didn't realize you could go to the CV clinic. So you're right, just planning out those 2 days is great advice, instead of kind of wasting your time. It is free, so why not try and make the most of it? What about networking? How important is networking for progressing your career?
I think it's absolutely essential. Your network is your net worth. So for me, that's a clear objective of if I was to attend this event as a visitor, what I would want to gain from that is making those valuable contacts at the event, or just in your professional journey anyway. So yes, that's absolutely vital.
Yes, and did you mention that there are networking opportunities at this event as well?
Yes, we've got a networking lounge at the event, where you can meet like-minded women. There will be some mentors in there who'll be offering coaching or top tips, how to progress. We've got roundtable discussions as well. So yeah, there's lots going on in terms of the networking piece, and everyone's there for the same reason. So I think there's just this real great ambience and energy of just growth, and everyone just seems just super friendly and wants to get on the same page of progression.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mention there'll be networking opportunities, but also you'll have mentors and roundtables. Something we discuss on this podcast quite often is everybody knows that they should be networking, but networking for some people is not natural. It can be very hard to just rock up to an event and be like, hi, I'm so and so, can we connect? So having things like mentors around that, or having roundtables and discussions, that kind of will break the ice a little bit, won't it? And kind of make those connections feel a little bit more natural than just sort of grab a glass of prosecco and come out of your comfort zone and go and talk to somebody. That's not always easy, is it?
No, it's not. I think confidence is one of the themes and topics that I'm sure will be covered in a lot of sessions, and also tips on networking, like what points to cover, how to introduce yourself, how to uh, just get out of that fear factor of just, speaking to a stranger. So hopefully we can offer some confidence building sessions as well.
Yes, the fear factor. Yes, oh, yes, couldn't agree more. And things like that. It's a very big event and can be quite overwhelming for some people. So you're trying to. I love the fact that you're trying to break that down and to help people and realize that some people that are going might be very introverted. They think, well, I want to spend the day here and want to get something out of it, but helping them along the way is far easier than just kind of thinking, yeah, turn up and talk to everybody. Not everybody feels that way. So that would definitely help. Do you have any advice for your younger self?
My younger self, yes, I would say to remember your self-worth. I think that's really key at any stage of your career, and also that a good work ethic will serve you in the future.
Definitely. I think when you're younger, you say remember your self-worth. When you're younger, you're very kind of, I just need a job and I just need to get on a team and I need to start moving forward. And as we said earlier, you have your day to day and then you kind of get lost in your day to day. And I think you do forget your self-worth. And I think events like this are really good to remind you of that. Because you are right, you would tell it to your younger self. But if you're not going to hear that, if you haven't got a mentor or a sponsor or somebody that's really pushing you along the way, then events like this would be great just to hear the advice so you can kind of remember what I do remember my self-worth, and if I want to progress in my career, there are certain things that perhaps I should change or improve. It's definitely really, really good advice. Finally, who are you most excited to speak at the Women in Business and Tech Expo? There are so many wonderful people, but is there anyone that you're really excited about?
Apart from Stephen Bartlett, of course, which
Of
I'm sure
course.
most people want to see his session, the BBC are doing a really interesting tech panel called Why We Chose Tech, and Will We Choose to Stay? And I thought that was a really interesting title, and to hear from panelists at different stages of their career working at the BBC in the tech sector just sounds really interesting to me. That session's on Wednesday the 18th at 11:40 in the Women in Tech Theatre.
I love that because you're as we said at the beginning of this, on this podcast, we love to hear how people got into tech, the career route that they took, whether they transitioned partway through. Most ladies I talk to tend to have fallen into the tech industry and didn't take a traditional career route in. And I love that the second half of that is will we choose to stay? Because a retention problem in tech is such a big conversation at the moment that most ladies that have fallen into tech will leave, by the time they're still in their mid 30s, will for some reason consider leaving technology. And a lot of that conversation at the minute has been around, they might become parents and then they find actually they don't have the flexibility that they needed, which sounds bizarre in the tech industry that they feel that way. Because you would think it would be flexible, wouldn't you? Why are people leaving?
That's it. And I think when we speak to exhibitors who are there to recruit, yes, attracting talent is key, but it is also, you have to bear in mind that retention piece. What opportunities are for them in the future? How can you support them, like you said, with flexibility, etc., in their current role? So the retention is high on the agenda for a lot of these corporates who are exhibiting.
Yeah, definitely. As we've touched upon in this, there is a tech talent shortage. So holding on to the right talent when you do find good talent and finding ways to hold on to them is key. And I'm sure there'll be lots of businesses there at the expo that know that that's incredibly important. And probably one of the reasons as well why they're exhibiting at such great shows as well, to find good talent and to be able to hold on to them.
And obviously, there's been so many redundancies and job losses with traditional tech companies in the
Yeah.
last 12 to 18 months because people overhired during the pandemic. So we've seen an increase by 62% in our audience registration from last year. So I think to see a company that's thriving and hiring and looking to help women progress is really key, because people want to safeguard their future. They don't necessarily like this chopping and changing all the time. And I think the tech sector proved that it's one of the, if you can call it recession proof or as close to recession proof sectors as you can, was in the pandemic. So how can women enter the field, or how can women grow and stay within the sector?
Yes, definitely. I'm hoping as well that whilst at the show that I bump into a lot of tech returners and transitioners as well. And we have a lot in our community, and shows like this are brilliant to be able to showcase all of the different roles in tech, but also all of the different skills that you need in technology. So to be able to go, you know, from business to business, and to be able to walk around and see what's available, sometimes it's a little easier to see where you might be able to fit in. If you have a background that isn't in technology, it's easier to speak to someone, and if they say to you, you know what, you don't have to be technical, but we're looking for really good soft skills, then that kind of encourages you a little bit more, if you're currently not in tech, to think, I have all of those skills. I could go into product management, for instance, because you bump into someone at the expo that's in product management and they tell you all about their day job. Whereas sometimes when you're just looking through job applications online, that's quite hard to you know, you sort of think, should I apply or shouldn't I apply? Or a lot of ladies don't apply because they don't tick all the boxes anyway. But if you're meeting someone in person at a stand and they say, you know, please just give it a go anyway, this is what my day is like. Sometimes that's far more encouraging, speaking to people from those businesses. So it's going to be an extremely busy couple of days for you, Christie. And
well,
I'm
Kaylee,
excited. SheCanCode are going to be there. And as I said last week, everybody was asking us, are you going? Are you going to Women in Business? And I was like, yes, we're definitely going. And we're going to see everybody there, hopefully. So for everybody listening, if you haven't already signed up and you can bag yourself a free space, please do sign up for the Women in Business and Tech Expo, which is taking place 18th to 19th of October at the London Excel. You definitely want to. We're going to include the link in the blurb if you can still get yourself a space, because we know it's incredibly popular. SheCanCode obviously going to be there, and we want to meet all of our listeners. And Christie, thank you so much. I know you have a super busy event coming up, but you managed to squeeze this in to have a little chat about it. So thank you so much for taking the time to have a chat with me today. It's been a pleasure.
No, my pleasure. Thank you, Kaylee.
Thank you. And to everybody listening, as always, thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to see you again next time.